Hi ladies, I wanted to take just a few minutes and show you how I apply my nail wraps. Application really is key to getting a long wear out of them, so I just wanted to show you how I did mine. What I've already done is completely prepped my nails, so that means that I have filed them, pushed back the cuticles, even the invisible cuticle that kind of lays right on the nail. Make sure you get that up. I washed them with Dawn soap, and then I clean my nails with our nail prep cleanser, but you can certainly use alcohol or vinegar if that's what you have at home. The key is just to get all of the oils off so that whenever the nail wrap sticks to your nail, it just sticks really good and you don't have those oils in between. So the first step that you want to do is to cut out your nail wrap. So I've got one already applied here so you can see what our final product's going to be. And then this is our sheet of wrap, so you can see how I've kind of cut that piece out. I'm just going to do the other hand now, so I'm going to cut out this other side. The first step that you want to do is make sure that you have the right size. I've done these enough that I know what sizes work for my fingers, but if this is your first time, you want to take a minute and kind of, you can see this bends really well. You want to kind of bend it around your nail and find the one that fits, that's the right size for your fingernail. Smaller is always better. Whenever it comes to the nail wraps, you want them to sit flat on your nail and not be on the skin or on the cuticle. So a little bit smaller is going to be better than going a little bit larger. You may notice a little sliver of nail around the outside. That's totally fine. You're the only one that's going to see that. Anyone else looking at your nails is just going to see the fabulous design. So you can just kind of hold them up there and find the right size for your fingernails. Once you determine that, you're just going to cut them out. Usually when I'm doing my whole hand, I'll cut them all out in advance. I'm just cutting out the one I'm using right now for our demonstration, but usually I'll cut the whole thing out. So I just use a little pair of nail scissors that come in our application kit to cut them out, but you can use whatever kind of scissor you have at home, and that's totally fine. So I cut them out. Now I have just my little piece of nail wrap right here. It comes on a clear backing. I just cut it right out of the sheet. The other little tools I have are a pair of tweezers, our cuticle pusher. You can use any sort of rubber cuticle pusher. I really like the size of Jamberry's. It's kind of small. This also comes in our application kit. The other great thing about that is you can heat up this rubber end and use it to push out bubbles if you have any bubbles. I've got a nail file for whenever we're ready to finish it off, and then a set of clippers to clip off any extra. The last thing I have is our mini heater. I love this heater. You can certainly use a hair dryer if you don't have the heater at home, if you're just wanting to try out the nail wraps before purchasing one. But if you're going to be putting on wraps frequently, I really suggest to use the heater. It's great because it's quiet, doesn't make much noise. So if you're sitting there watching TV doing your nails, you don't have to worry about that. I also like that it has a little stand on it, so it can just sit there, and I don't have to worry about using one hand to use the hair dryer and another hand to do the wraps. I can just use both hands while I'm doing the wraps. So what I'm going to do now is just take my tweezers, and I'm going to peel the wrap off of the backing that I cut out. So I just pull off the backing, and then I've got my wrap right here just sit on the cuticles. I do what's called a cold application method, which means I'm going to put it on my nail before I heat it up. I like to do that so that if I get it on crooked, I can move it around if need be. I've also just found that this application works the best for me. I've tried a couple different ways, and I get the longest wear out of doing it this way, and find it to be the easiest, so it's the one that I've stuck with. So I've just taken the nail wrap and just sat it right on top of my nail. You can see it's barely sitting on there, just enough so it's sitting there, but I can certainly move it around if I need to. So it looks like I got this one just a touch off center, so I'm just going to kind of move it over a little bit, just using my tweezers. You could use your finger on the end of it, just as long as it's not on the part that's touching your nail, that's going to be touching your nail, because you don't want to get those oils on there. So okay, so I've got that nice and centered on my nail, and now what I'm going to do is just take the heat and kind of blast it straight at the middle of my nail. So I'm just going to put it right here in front of my heater that I've got sitting down here. And you just want to do it for a few seconds, just long enough for it to get warmed up. The wrap will kind of start to curve a little bit when they get heated, so whenever it starts to do that, that's good. And then I'm going to take my cuticle pusher, and I'm just going to push straight right at the base at the cuticle, and then straight up the middle. I'm going to put it down on the table to get it. But you want to get a good, you want to push with a little bit of pressure so that you get it nice and adhered down to your nail. Okay, so once I've got that, you can still see it's kind of up on the edges, but it's pushed down some in the middle. I'm just going to blast the air now at the side of the nail, just at one of the sides. And again, just do it for a few seconds until your finger kind of starts to get hot and the wrap starts to curl a little bit. And then I'm going to use the cuticle pusher and push out to the edges and then up to the top of the nail. Again, using enough pressure, especially right at the edges, that you're getting a good seal down. So now you can see that that side's kind of been pushed down. And I'm going to do the same thing with the heat just on the other side. Just enough for it to get warmed up. And then again, using my cuticle pusher and going out to the edge and then up into the top. Just making sure that you don't have any bubbles. If you do get any bubbles, you can use the tweezers to kind of pull the edge out, or heat up the cuticle stick and it'll help kind of get those out. So I've got it all nice and down. So you can see I've got a good amount of extra here. I'm just going to trim that off. I'm going to leave some extra still on my nail. You don't want to totally trim those down yet until they've all the way cooled, because if you do it too early and then your nail cools, the wrap will kind of shrink up and you'll end up with maybe a little bit of lifting. So you really want to make sure that the wrap is cool all the way before you completely trim it down. So at this point, I would usually do my whole hand and finish that up before I went back and finished clipping them. Today, I'm just going to cool it off with an ice pack just to get it nice and cool so that we can finish our demonstration here. But once the wrap's all the way cool, I just take my clippers again and I'm just going to clip off right down to the edge of my nail. I'm not sure that you guys can see it real well, but underneath the wrap is the top of my nail. So I'm just going to clip right at the top of my nail just to take off any extra. So now I've got my nail wrap trimmed all the way down to the top of my nail. I'm going to heat it up one last time just to make sure that I've got the edge all pushed down really good. And then the final step is just to take the file and at a 90-degree angle, just file straight down. This will help get rid of any sort of excess that you may have on your finger. Okay, and there we go. We've got our completed nail wrap.